All right, let's take a phone call. Good morning, caller. How you doing? You're on the air.
Good, you all doing?
Miss Charlene,
we doing it. We doing it.
How you doing?
Doing okay. I was just wanting to make some comments. I wanted to know, how do we memorialize Navalny? How do we, as a world, as a country, stand up for this man who had a beautiful soul? His eyes lit up the world. And then when he was confined in the prison, he didn't show the world that he was worried or terrored. He tried to make us feel better. He tried to make us, he's standing for a righteous cause. He's standing freedom to the Russianites. Mm-hmm. And not only that, for the world. Putin murdered this beautiful soul to prove a point, to make a statement, him and Trump, and express it to the Republican Party. If you even pass that bill for Ukraine, this is what could happen to you. And we shouldn't walk under fear. We should walk above the circumstances. Not only was he speaking to, I don't know if you all saw the article where Mitch McConnell's daughter, sister-in-law, was killed in a car accident on private property.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Did you see that?
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, so you have to compare what's going on. Is kind of strange, but that's to put fear in those who stand up for the peoples. But yet still, we must not cater to fear. Now, how do the Russianites stand and represent where Putin is arresting their citizens every day for standing in for Alexei Navalny for what he stood for?
Right. I understand that.
I would suggest to the Russianites, I would even go to the poll to vote for Vladimir Putin. Right. That would be your mark of legacy to stand up for Alexei Navalny, even though he's not here. And you know who the president of Russia really truly is? Alexei Navalny. That should have been the president. He is the president. If I would memorize his name in the highlight, because he stood not just for you, and he stood for the world. You know how much courage to stand up, knowing that you're going to die you could die in the path of defeat because you're standing up for a righteous cause. Do you know how many leaders had to fear this? But we had to overcome the circumstances. In my last comment, I just pray that if you can pull out Bin Laden, Osama Bin Laden, who pulled down the World Trade Center, if you have to organize your intersections to connect with all the countries, to intervene, to go up under secret, to pull him out of his compound, why is Putin still sitting in his compound?
You know what?
He's
my
isolated.
Sister, I wish I knew. That is a question for the age. When I was working in news, I remember hearing about him that's all we talked about in this early 2000s, and I would hear that over and over and over again. So I definitely get it. But Miss Charlene, thank you very much for
on the other side of the break, Jabari. I have a lot that I'd like to offer to that, and you and I talked pre-show meeting just a little bit about that. So yeah, I would like to give a couple minutes to that.
Cool. Well, hold that thought, my brother.
I was talking about Miss Charlene. This goes back from the beginning of the USSR, so I'll be quick with it. We got to remember the foundation of it.
Right.
Why the U.S. won't send troops to Ukraine? Well, first of all, that could result in a nuclear exchange. And we don't want that. We don't want World War III for that country. Now, what we have to think about is we have a society that would not want that kind of bloodshed. We are not the baby boomers' parents. We're not that generation. We're a different society. So when this stuff starts showing on news, the amount of deaths, trust me, that would slow the roll. Yeah. Second of all, there are finances attached to that. We don't want to fund a war. That's another thing. That's a full-on assault. That's like something you see in war movies on TV if we got to deal with Russia. Yeah. Lastly, the Russian people have to want that revolution. Now, he's a dictator. True. I know he's got the label president. He's a dictator. When those people want to rise up within the street, but they ain't doing that yet. Right. So what we gonna do? We can't do nothing about it yet. So none of our presidents want to go into that war, fund that war, be a part of that war, and have those casualties on their resume. And then same thing, until those people rise up and you start to see some real action. I just want to add one last quick thing and say we got a call.
Okay.
4 years ago, when Alexei Navalny was interviewed, kind of was seeing the future. And he was asked, what would he tell Russians if he was killed for challenge? This is according to the AP News. He said, what would he tell Russians if he was killed for challenging President Putin? That was 4 years ago. He said, you're not allowed to give up. If they decide to kill me, it means we are incredibly strong and we need to use this power. Wow. So they got to rally. I know some of us, Miss Charlene, is up in arms about it, sure, but them people got to get, and this is their time. Yeah. They got to jump off of, this is the springboard for them and perhaps their own revolution. For those who may not know, they weren't always like this. Before the USSR started, they had a king. It was a monarch society. They call him the Tsar, and
right.
That's where you've heard of Rasputin.
Right.
You see the Fabergé eggs. They were elite. Like they had gold all in my watch, gold all in my chain. Like they were that type of people.
Exactly.
But then there was a coup that rise up, the Bolsheviks. You guys go watch the movie Anastasia, the Disney movie Anastasia. That'll bring you up to speed. I think it's Disney. That'll bring you up to speed, but that's based on fact. And so that has to happen. And if that don't happen, what we supposed to do?
That's true. We can't
want it for them.
It's got to be about what they want. Do you want to keep him there, or are you afraid to mess with him?
Yeah.
Are you afraid to get at him? Because unfortunately, that could result in, some very serious, as you can see, it's already resulted in.
I'm a veteran. I spent 15 months in Iraq.
Right.
Saddam didn't have no nuclear weapons.
Right.
Y'all remember all that, right? We were told he had no nuclear weapons.
Right.
Putin has 6,000 that we know of.
Right.
6,000. And when I say that we know of, that means we are pretty sure there's more.
Sure. Exactly.
They're just outdated, but he can still use them. He can still launch them joints at us. So
Okay.
we
All right, cool.
we don't want to do that.
Exactly. Good morning, Carla.
Good morning. It is Polly Pocket.
Yo,
The Pocket's in the building.
the
How you
best
doing?
in the West.
Yes.
Oh, KZI finest swim team right here.
Her words.
No, y'all are popular. Finally, I can call in. First off, Jeopardy, are you a professor? Because you schooled everyone on relationships earlier.
Appreciate you. I gotta say, if you keep it to yourself, how they gonna learn?
Amen to that.
Yes, ma'am.
But on the education piece and degrees, we gotta have certain things that separate us. It's just how we are as a society, and unfortunately, degrees are one of those things. But also, as a reminder, there are places where, for example, I as a female could not attend school. So there are nations that would not take this opportunity for granted.
Yep.
And, I heard you guys talk about Russia briefly earlier.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
we don't know what people are doing there. We at least have the opportunity to go to school and have, spend 2-4 years having conversations where we can agree to disagree, or not, but we can have the opportunity to disagree, which is not something you can do and potentially stay alive in Russia.
Polly Pockets, can I merge the two of those and get your opinion on, we were talking about going to college, we're talking about Russia. With the invasion, didn't some people who were abroad, had their kids abroad in college, have to recall those kids back to Russia? So just imagine I'm over in, let's say, Great Britain, enrolled in college, living a life, or maybe even here in America, and then the invasion happens, and I had to get, like a yo-yo, I had to get yanked back, right? What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. So the police were having their cake and eating it too before the invasion. They were getting money from Russia, from Putin, but having homes in Miami, New York, LA, you name it, sending their kids to places like Yale, like London, but now they have to, I'll say, enjoy, sarcastically, the benefits of everything that is in Russia, which they are not enjoying. So,
Right. I'm so Russian, but I'm living in
ultimately-
Miami until they tell me I got to go back to
Right.
Russia.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I see what you did there. I never thought of that.
So ultimately, until they become so unhappy with their way of life, are the ones who potentially can bring some change and take the current regime down. But people are scared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he's a strong
no-
boy. I mean, he's no joke. He's had his hand, ruling some things for a long time, and his game is, unfortunately, his game is strong.
Polly, didn't he change the Constitution?
Listen, at this point, he doesn't care what happens to him. He's got literally nothing to lose. Whatever he does or doesn't do, if he dies tomorrow, his legacy, however negative, is already built.
Yeah.
So he's untouchable. He feels he is untouchable.
Yep.
I mean,
Unfortunately,
Biden's death on
Yeah.
Friday shows that,
Yeah.
sure, someone can sit in jail, but that basically means you're going to die in Russia.
Yeah, they sent Navalny to an Arctic penal colony where he was serving a 19-year sentence on charges of extremism. And his death sparked accusations around the world that he had been killed. For those who don't know, that was Alexei Navalny.
Yeah, he's one of Putin's biggest critics, too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he went on record. There's videos of him being asked like, "What happens if they kill you if you die?" And he's basically saying, you keep fighting. That means they haven't won that we have.
Oh, Polly Pocket, let me jump in there. We don't say here at KZI that he went on record. We say he stood on business. You got that one there?
Oh,
yeah. See, I'm helping you.
No, I appreciate it.
You're standing on business.
Thank you, Professor D.
He's trying to school us all, baby. That's what's happening today.
Hey, this was awesome, Polly Pockets. Thanks for calling in. You always bring it.
I'm just trying to keep it entertaining. I got to blend with the crew of KAZI. So cool.
Amen to that. But we appreciate you blending. Thank you for dropping in and saying hello to us. And have a wonderful day. All right.
Thank you all. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah. When you're talking about they call them oligarchs over there. The top 1% over there. The big dogs over in Russia.
Yeah, the big dogs.
When you see that anyone that speaks out against him dies in a wide variety of ways, poisoning, getting thrown into jail, and then assaulted, killed. What you gonna do? You're living in your lavish. You got about 5 Range Rovers. We making fun of Brother Warfield with his 1 Maybach. These jokes I got a Maybach. I got a Range Rover. I got a Hummer. I got a jet. I got a boat. They got this. Why? Who's gonna give that up?
Right.
To fight against? Those ain't the people that are gonna do it. They got a lot of power over there, but they ain't giving it up. It's the people in the street where the rubber meets the road. The people, they gotta organize. And until that happens, what we doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, man. And again, they gotta want to say, okay, it's time for this dude to go. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I've been hearing his name. I'm like, he's still around?
Yeah. Because he changed the Constitution. Just like us, you can't serve more than 8 years.
Right.
They had something very similar because they modeled after us back in the 90s when it became Russia, when the USSR fell. But then he changed all that.
Yeah.
He said, 8 years, not that. Let's go ahead and change that.
Ooh.
He done changed that thing 2 or 3 times to his benefit.
Yep.
And he said, so it should be like a life position now. But he still calls himself president. He's doing dictatorship stuff, but he still calls himself president and says it's an election.
Why y'all laughing? Could you imagine trying to run in that election?
You know why? Thank you. Ain't no miscounting that one.
You have to be one of his. He literally at this point. He's probably paying people to run against him, so someone shows on the ballot.
Right.
There's some real ones out there, and then we hear how their demise ends up. Yeah. But you're a plant. Simply Courtney is the plant. Go and run against me. Don't say nothing against me, though.
Don't say nothing.
You just talk about other stuff. Like you want everybody to have a unicorn, and you believe that the potato is the greatest vegetable ever. Yep. Like that's you run on that.
Yeah.
Keep it nice, bro. Be congenial.
Truman Show stuff.
Don't